Colby, math.com.
This is the Thanksgiving special assignment support video, which explains that introduction, as well as the turkey on my head. We explored integer exponents in class today and developed an understanding of the distinction between these two problems, or problems like these two, A and B, 7a and b, where in the first case of 7a, the base number is -2. And in the second case of 7b, the base number is +2, and we're taking the opposite of that +2 to the -4th power. And that can be pretty tricky. I had a misunderstanding of this for quite some time until somebody helped me understand the difference. And so if we do 7a together, this says -2 to the -4th power. And so in order to deal with this negative exponent, the first thing we do is take the reciprocal of the base number. The reciprocal of -2 is -1/2. Then if we take the reciprocal of the base, we can take the opposite exponent, and the 4th power is much more understandable and easier to work with than the -4th power. And so now that we know we have -1/2 to the +4th power, we just expand that. That's -1/2 multiplied by -1/2 multiplied by -1/2 multiplied by -1/2. And -1/2 can be written three ways: as negative fraction, or as -1 over +2, or as +1 over -2. Because negative divided by positive is negative, positive divided by negative is negative. And so we most often will just show it as the negative fraction, but just know that you could represent any one of these three ways. You just can't say -1 over -2, because that would be +1/2. And I like to expand the entire expression so that I can keep track of the signs. Negative multiplied by negative is positive. So -1/2 multiplied by -1/2 is +1/4. So this -1/2 multiplied by -1/2 will also be +1/4. And we multiply those, we get +1/16. So I guess one of the trickiest things about dealing with these integer exponent expressions is you can have all kinds of negative bases, negative exponents, and doesn't necessarily mean you end up with a negative result when you simplify that all the way down. And so if we follow the directions, it says evaluate each power for each set of exercises. So this is set number 7. There is one extra answer. Write the letter of this answer in the boxes containing the number of that set of exercises. So we just found +1/16, so we'll cross out the B. That will not be the letter that we're using for this set of exercises. I'd like you to try 7B and 7C on your own during the pause, and then come back and see how you did.
Paused.
7B will demonstrate the big difference between the one we just did and problems like this, because this actually says, 7b actually says the opposite of +2 to the -4th power. So in this case, the base for this exponent, this base is positive. So if I rewrite that, it would be the opposite of the reciprocal of +2, which is 1/2, to the opposite exponent to the 4th power. And we know from our work before that 1/2 to the 4th is 1/16. So this is just the opposite of 1/16, which is -1/16. So we'll cross off answer choice. Looks like a Y. I guess that's a Y. The third problem in this set, 7C, says the opposite of +2 to the -5th power. And so here we have the opposite of the reciprocal of +2 is 1/2 to the +5th power. And so this is the opposite of 1/2 multiplied by 1/2 multiplied by 1/2 multiplied by 1/2 multiplied by 1/2 I guess I could have taken a shortcut. We know this is 1/16. Oops, I accidentally put 1/12 there. So I could just substitute 1/2 to the 4th power as 1/16 since we found that in the previous problems. And 1/2 of a 16th is a 32nd. And so the opposite of 1/32 is just negative 1/32, which is W. And so the answer choice that we've not crossed out, the extra answer, is 1/32, which is L. And so underneath the 7, underneath any 7, there may be more than one, but in this case there's only one 7, you put an L. In the case of 9, it occurs 3 times, so whatever letter you find for 9, you'll put that letter underneath every single 9. And don't forget, there are a few problems on the back of this worksheet, so make sure you do the problems on the back as well. Thank you for watching the Thanksgiving special. I'll see you in the morning.